Yeah, 1 in 3 gym goers abuse prescriptions. And if you aren't shocked by that title, then maybe you knew something that I didn't know. To me, it's insane to think that many people use PEDs. So you're telling me that out of a gym full of people, I can seriously expect 1/3 of all people in there to be using and abusing some form of PEDs? That's kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but I guess it's true. Well, that claim comes from a government study published by the Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine back in 2006. Now, I personally am natural, but I do know some people that have used PEDs. But the thing is, I never imagined that many people used PEDs. Now, I wanted to look into this because in some of Greg Doucette's videos, he always claims that a lot of the people that abuse and use PEDs don't look that good. They still look like crap. And I thought that was very interesting, so I looked into it. Now keep in mind, this study was done in 2006. This was way before social media. Well, maybe not way before, but a fair amount before social media. And the reason why I bring this up is because social media gives us so many skewed perceptions of what is naturally achievable for the human body. Just look at Gymshark and, just scroll through any fitness thing on Instagram. Like, these people have insanely huge muscles, they're insanely ripped, and most importantly, they're constantly like that, or they're extremely young. So, in my opinion, after social media, because really the iPhone came out like 2008-ish or something like that, social media took off in the early 2010s, in my opinion, 1 out of 3 is probably a little closer to half or more. They were saying that 15 to 30% of gym goers back in 2006 were abusing some form of prescriptions. So that being before social media, that's already a fairly high number. 15% is 1 out of 6, 30% is very close to 1/3. So after having all these social media influencers and stuff like that, especially in the fitness industry, claiming to be fake natties, now I see it being probably closer to half or even more. But that really helps reinforce Greg Doucette's claims that most people taking PEDs or steroids, they don't look that good. Because if a lot of people looked like the stereotypical roid guy or whatever, like half the gyms would be jacked, like to the gills. But no, like in my gym, I go to a fairly big gym. There's a lot of people that go there. Most of the people there, they look average. They don't look bad. There's some people that are overweight. They're trying to get in better shape. That's awesome. Then there's, most people that they just look, okay, yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell if they go to the gym. And then there's some people that, oh yeah, they look real good. And then you have the occasional person where they're like huge. You're like, what the, how? Is that genetic steroids? What? What's even more crazy is if you go based off the study from 2006 and not what probably has happened, 1 out of 3 people, or even 1 out of 6, that's still a lot. There's not that many people that look that good. And if there's that many people that are using prescriptions or PEDs, yeah, most people really don't look that good whenever they are working out. I mean, there's only been a few people in my gym where I've actually been legitimately impressed. But I do have to say this has made me a little bit more aware of those that might be using PEDs in my own gym that I originally thought that they probably aren't using them. And another thing is, the stereotype is usually that men use PEDs. Obviously some women do, but I can promise you that it's probably not at the same extent that men use it. So we can already skew that 15 to 30% a little higher for men. And especially now, 15 years after that study was done, we can definitely skew it closer to 50% or even a little higher. So, if you're going to assume that half the people half the men in your gym are using PEDs, they really, they must not have some very good genetics at all. If there's a lot of people that don't look all that impressive. I mean, sure, there's some that do look amazing. And then there's some, and there's plenty that, look great and they're natural. And then there's some that you're like, oh yeah, they definitely take steroids. But man, if we can safely assume that about half the men that go to the gym use steroids, you're just like, dang, y'all really must got some bad genetics. Definitely after doing a little bit of research about the signs of PED use, especially like steroids or anything that increases testosterone, I've definitely been able to spot people that don't look like they take steroids, but probably do. And that's from things like, people that you've seen at the gym for several years where they were kind of small for the whole time. And then just within 6 months to a year, boom, they just blow up. They get huge, or they get extremely insanely shredded within a very rapid amount of time. Or if they got back knee. That's not to say anybody that has acne or whatever takes PEDs, but if they have strictly back knee, acne on the back, and it's like nowhere else, it's not on their face, shoulders, chest, or anything like that, we can assume that it might be low likely that they are taking PEDs, especially if they have one of those other things. Because I know that there's one dude at my gym, he started working out like the year before COVID happened. And then when the gyms reopened back up in 2020, he was still pretty skinny. But like now, he is huge. And you know how hard it is for hard gainers to gain muscle mass. Like he's huge and he's shredded. So whenever I see things like that, I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. Because like this dude, like the guy that I just talked about, for example, he's not like the best, biggest looking dude. But in comparison to what he was before, he's huge. But still, he's not a huge guy in comparison to a bunch of other guys. But compared to himself, he's a lot bigger. And that makes a lot more sense. Because he has a lot of back, and he has a lot of back knee, and it's become more apparent to me that he probably uses some form of PEDs. And while you're looking at that study, 1 out of 6 to 1 out of 3 people, and we can probably assume that after social media, and especially amongst men, is probably closer to half, and you just see all these people that don't look that good, but they also exhibit signs of using PEDs, then you're just like, dang, you know, there really is a lot of people out there that do not have very good genetics. Now, I personally don't have a problem with people taking PEDs as long as they're not using it to have an unfair advantage in competitions or in sports. But I do find it interesting how many people use them, and more specifically, how many people use them, but you kind of can't tell that they use them just because they just don't have very good genetics. They don't have a great body or whatever. They don't have the best physique. That was something that I was like, huh. So I was like, how many people in my gym actually use PEDs? But you can't tell. No, it was just a really weird topic to me. I thought that the results of that study was pretty interesting. I'll leave it down in the link below if you want to check it out. Just kind of read through it yourself. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to me that 15 to 30% of people that go to the gym also abuse prescription. You know, usually you might think it might be 5, maybe 10%, not quite as high as that range. And like I said, you know, we can assume that's probably a lot higher than that now after social media with all these people that have like insane physiques that, you know, claim to be natural when they're obviously not. Anyways, that was just kind of a little discussion that I was wanting to talk about in my video because I thought it was pretty interesting. That being said, just be sure to please leave a like on the video for me, because that really help out my video. Also, be sure to just kind of comment down below if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts about the study, because I thought it was very interesting that apparently that many people are using PEDs or steroids in the gym. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for whenever I make future videos. Anyways, that being said, you know, I'll see y'all in the next video.